to the first case. So here is the first case. And let me just, okay, so when you have a case, it opens up on a memo page. And the memo is going to be information of what you need to do in the case, the tasks. So this is my memo to you saying, this is what I want you to do. And I have 5 tasks here. And then I give different worksheets. So the overall Excel file is a workbook. And in the workbook, we have different worksheets. So we have a year-over-year analysis sheet. Now, this is the basic template that I want you to fill in as you're completing, as you get the data, I want you to fill in this template. Now here's the basic data is here on for 2016, and then we have sales units for 2017. Okay, so that we looked over. So it might be smart to kind of just quickly glance at different worksheets you have and then read the tasks. So task 1 for worksheets, unit sales 2016 and 2017, calculate total dollars, total units, total cost, and total gross profit per month and per year. Okay, so here, what you can't do is just add add up the column. You can't just sum the column because this column includes dollars and a little bit further down it's going to have units and then costs. So there are how do you easily separate them? Well, most students will maybe try and go through and open up lines and then create um, ranges to sum them. But an easier way is to do a sum if. So if I go to formulas and I say insert function, sum if, in the range, so the range would be C, and then actually that would be the sum range. So I'm going to put A would be the range. And then the criteria would be dollars, and then the sum range would be January. So I'm going to move this in a little bit. I'm going to hit done, and it's going to add up the information like for all the dollars for column A, everything that says dollars in column A will be added um, the information in column C. So now if I do that for units, it's going to be something very similar. A is the range, criteria is units, and the sum range is the January column. And then I could do that for total cost. And then the sum range. Okay, now to make this easier, I'm going to put dollar signs. I want to put dollar signs in front of these ranges here on the A column because I don't want that to drift. So if I'll show you, I'll do 2 examples. So these 2, I'll put dollar signs creating absolute for column A. So if I drag these across, you see how this is 0 for total cost is coming in 0, and these are coming in with new numbers here because this, if you look here, we see that the range drifted to column B and the sum range drifted to column D, which is fine. We want the drift to column D, but we don't want our criteria range to drift from A to B. That's why you want to lock down these A cells in the range with dollar signs, so that way you can drag it over and you don't have to waste your time putting sum ifs on all the pages. So now I have that, I can easily just drag this across and have that done. So, and I think I could just copy this here, go here, paste it, and let me just check. Yeah, since the column A and column C are the same positions, I can easily just cut, paste this, bring this over here to 2017 schedule. Per month and per year. So you want it per month and per year. Okay. So to do the totals per year, I can just say, add a new column over here, and I can go to the auto sum, and it will. Now, you have to be careful with the auto sum because you want to make sure it goes from C to N, which it does. Okay, and bring that down, and then I'm just going to copy this to 2017. Okay, so now I have, and I should copy the format here. Use the format painter. Let's undo that. I want to land it here. All right. Format painter and land it there. Okay, so we have the same. All right, so everything is good here. So let's go back to the memo. Number one is done. So for worksheets, I got the total dollars, units, costs, and total profits for month and year. Two, use the total results to calculate unit price, average unit price. Here's the formula: average unit cost and average gross profit margin per month and per year. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate that. Here is, I can see that average unit cost. So I should say, I'm going to bring the information over to here. I could have calculated it here too, but it's already listed here. So you know what, maybe I could do it either way, but maybe here they want us to include average unit price, average. Okay, so maybe I will just create insert. See, there's this insert here, and I could do insert sheet rows. You could also right click and click insert as well. So then I could say, so we want average unit price, calculate average unit price. So we'll just pop that here. Average unit cost. If I was smart, I could just go here and say, let me just, actually gross profit too. So let me go over here, insert a row, and I could, instead of typing it over, I could just highlight this, copy, and paste that here. Okay, so now gross profit following the formulas is going to be total dollars, parentheses, total dollars minus total costs. Oh, I actually don't need parentheses, but it's going to be total dollars minus total costs. That would be the gross profit. So it's revenues minus costs. Average unit price is going to be dollars divided by units. And let's just open this up a little bit. Average unit cost would be cost divided by units. And gross margin, and this is generally gross margin is a percentage. So here in the memo, I give you the formula, gross margin, gross profits divided by dollars. So we have gross profits already. So gross profits divided by dollars. And this is a percent. Okay, so let me just highlight this. And I can easily bring this over and get that data there. And I can also, what I could also do is I could go to 2017, highlight 4 rows. I can right click, hit insert, and we can go back over here, grab all of this, control copy. And you notice when you copy, you'll get these lines around the data. And I could go here and just pop this in here. And I'm going to go ahead and put everything into these grid lines here and make it a little bit nicer. All right. And we'll do the same thing here. Some grid lines. Just to make the format look a little bit nicer. Okay. So now, two, calculate. So we calculated that. Three, for each month, calculate the year-over-year percent change in dollars, units, costs, average cost per unit, average unit costs, the average, and average gross margin. So the hint is 2017 information minus 2016 divided by 2016, and that's the year over year. And this is a formatted the year over year worksheet for you to organize these calculations. So let's go to the year over year worksheet. So the first thing we want to do is just bring in the data from 2017 and 2016. So I'm going to hit plus, I'm going to go to 2017 and bring in the dollars. And since this is dollars, units, cost, profits, average unit price, cost, margin, if you go 2017 here, you see dollars, costs, dollars, units, cost, profit, unit price, average unit cost, gross margin. You see it's the same, which means that I could just take this, bring this down, and it's going to pull in all the information from the previous page. And then I can just drag this all the way across. And for these, all right, for this row, we know that we want this to be percent. And for these rows, since they're under, generally if it's under $100, we want to show the change. If it's over $100, we don't want to display the change. So there we go, we got 2017. Now I'm going to go and grab 2016. So you could use plus or equals. They both will work. Okay. Pull this over. And then what I could do, a quick way to format everything is I could just go here, click on the format brush, and then highlight this. Oops, yes, and it will highlight everything for me. Everything's been formatted and saved for it. So now to do the year over year, using the formula from the memo page, new minus old divided by old, or 2017 minus 2016 divided by 2016. Right, so this is the hint here I'm working with to create the year over year percent change. So sales went from 12 to 8, which is a 33% decline. Now I can pull this down and I'll get the year over year change for all the items. Since it's the same basic setup, I could easily just drag this over and everything pops in very quickly. So this looks all easy when I'm doing the spreadsheet. Usually I'll give this spreadsheet, if it's an in-class assignment, I'll give students a spreadsheet to work on, and it'll take them 3 hours to complete the spreadsheet, where um, And then after they take the 3 hours to complete the spreadsheet, I do the same demonstration I'm doing for you and show them how I could do it in 15 minutes. And then they say, oh, wow, I guess Excel, if you know Excel better, you could really work a lot faster. It's sort of what the purpose of this first case is. Now, for each yearly total, calculate the year over year percentages. Okay, so we already did that because that's at the end here. So I'm going to resize. So what I did is if I highlight the whole spreadsheet, let me just make this a little bit more exaggerated. And you have some weird spacing here. If I highlight the whole spreadsheet, and when this gets to be a double arrow between the A and B cell and I double click, it automatically resizes the spreadsheet for me. And that's optimizing, really optimizing the space. So here's the year over year totals for our annual totals here. All right, and I included this template here to give you an idea of how things should be organized and look smart and professional and clean. So in future cases, you're going to be expected to make these templates based on what you think would be a good layout. Okay, so the last thing to do would be draft a short executive summary for me, your boss, to discuss the findings and analyze the information, draw conclusions, and make recommendations. So every time you make an executive summary, you'll have to you hit this plus key to create a new worksheet. And you could title it executive summary and make it the first sheet, move it to the first sheet in the workbook. Because the executive summary is basically for your boss. So your boss doesn't want to have to review everything you did in every worksheet to do the financial analysis. That's what he's paying you for, to organize the data, uh, put the information in correctly, and then do an executive summary. So for an executive summary, you want to insert a text box. So I'm going to have to go to insert a text box. And this is where you can now do to, from, subject. Let's make this a little bigger. So to should be the CFO, from would be your name, and subject would be um, analysis of year over year sales, something to represent the case. So, oops. Then you do your introduction. And here in the introduction, you give me a basic overview of the problem of the case and what Excel you used. In this case, we'd say that we used uh, some ifs and we used uh, some basic uh, summing calculations. And so there wasn't really too much Excel in this, but you just kind of described the basic Excel you did use. And the introduction would be uh, a quick sentence or two about what you're trying to do. This could be I'm analyzing sales information from 2017 and comparing that to sales information in 2016 to get a better idea of how the company's sales and profits are changing. So then you do your financial analysis. So in here you would comment about how the total sales dollars are changing year over year, how the units are changing, and how the average cost and profit margins are changing. So that's one thing I don't have here is profit margin. So did the memo ask for that? Yeah, so let's just add that. So I can insert here, and I'm going to take this, and I'm going to paste this down here. I'm going to say year over year gross margin. So we see here that the gross margin went from 49 to 69, so that is indeed about a 30% change. So that does make sense. Let's see here. I just want to double check that these are in the correct. So we have 12, 13, 14. Oh, so the gross profits are here. So this is a problem. So after cost, we should insert here, and this is the gross, that's the gross profit. So gross profit should be here, and this is gross margin. So I'm going to pull this down. Okay, so that's a good reason to double check this, because if you see, if you look in this box here, as I highlight these rows, it'll count 7 rows, and I have 7 rows of data here, so it wasn't matching 100% what I had here and what I had here. So I just added a new column called gross profit, and that way I could see, and I'm just going to double check. This is 33. This is a 68% decrease. That looks like to be a 60% decrease as well. Profit down 5%. Price per unit does look like an increase, and the average cost is an increase, and the gross margin went up. Okay, so now it all looks good. So that's a good thing I double checked that. Let's move this across. Get all these rows filled in. So, and that could happen. Some of the templates I may give you, or some of the worksheets I give you, may require you to add some rows or columns to create some additional data in the spreadsheet. Okay. So now, when you're doing the executive summary, you're doing the financial analysis, you should comment on how these things are changing between. So it looks like, yeah, average prices are going up, and year-over-year profit margins are going up, but total profits are, in most cases, going down or only going up single digits. And sales dollars are going down, units being sold are going down. So that you should comment to how is the changing price affecting the actual sales year over year from 2016 to 2017. So that would be the basic financial analysis that you're going to be doing. And then you would want to make recommendations to the company about what the company should do. Maybe you think the company should lower their prices, or maybe you should suggest the company try to decrease their costs, or you should make some suggestions that the company can do to improve their overall sales and profit picture. Now, in the executive summary, you should also include some charts and graphs. So it's not just only what you write up. I also going to be grading you on charts and graphs. So you can easily make um, charts and graph off the data, so you can highlight pretty much any data you want to highlight, and then you can go to insert, and you could insert, I'll insert a line chart here. So now I have a nice chart, and I could double click the titles, and I can say this 2017 information here. So this is very manipulable, and then you can take the chart and you can copy and paste the chart onto the executive summary. So this is something that, let me move this chart out of the way. Let me just move it over here. So I could go down and do something similar. 2016 data. You can make an insert. It's very easy. As you see, it's very easy to make charts. So I'll do another line chart. Maybe I'll do it with dots. And you always, you can't just work with how the chart pops in. You'll need to, and you learn this from LinkedIn Learning, how to change the titles, the legends, move the titles around to make different charts, move the colors, things of that nature. But the executive summary isn't complete unless you have some charts, maybe some tables on the executive summary to express, for your boss to see easily, some of the work that you've done. You know, um, Maybe you want to look at a comparison. So I might want to do something like, here I'm just going to say values and number formats, so I don't copy the actual. I just want to copy in values and number formats. Let's take away the shading. Okay, so maybe I want to, now the reason I did it like this, so now if I highlight this, I can make a chart just on the gross margins. And maybe I'm going to use a column chart this time. And retitle that so that we have blue is 2017, red is 2016. So I have a nice little chart here. I can copy this and I can go bring this to the executive summary. So it's usually good to have 3 or 4 charts. In some cases, you may want to include a table to help round out your executive summary. Okay, once your file is complete and you've completely filled out your executive summary, now you want to save your work. So you want to save your file, and after you save your file, you go back to the assignment, click on Browse My Computer, select the file you've just saved, attach it, and then you will hit the Submit button. Now you could rename the file, and that might be a good idea to rename the file. So this is the Save button, save that. But before you do submit it, make sure that you review your work. So a couple things I haven't done here is that I haven't set, the formats are good, but I haven't set, if we look at our original case here, that I was supposed to do the appearance and the print ranges. So, and the titles and charts, totals and subtotals. So what I should do here is set my print ranges before I submit the file. So I'm going to you don't have to, all right, so these would be my print range. So then I would go, so let me go over here. I want to do it from the bottom. Okay, so I'd go to page layout, set print area. Then I'd look at the page setup and I'd say rows to repeat at the top. So we'd want these 2 rows, these 3 rows to repeat at the top. And then I'm going to do landscape. Nope, yeah, landscape. I'm going to say try to fit this to 1 page. Margins, I might shrink my margins a little bit to make it fit better. I could put in a header, which could be the actual title of the file, and then the footer and the sheet. And you can say OK. And then I could do if I go to hit actually print, so I can get a look at what this looks like. It's rather small here, but I can see it's fitting to 1 page. It looks rather okay. So the print range and I don't have to set a print range for every object on the page, just as long as the main information I set a print range for. And this is to prevent 60 pages from printing out if you clicked on print. So for here, I would set a print range here. I don't need column A, but I would just do use my quick keys to highlight everything. And again, go to print area, set print area, page setup. And for this particular case, I might shrink it a little bit, shrink my margins, put in a header. And the header is always good to have the name of the file you're working with, and then the page number, and then the sheet. Rows to repeat at the top. So I want to repeat the months at the top here, that row. Okay, and now when I click on print, I'll get a print preview, and I can see how it's laying out. And it is still a lot of pages because it's a lot of data, but at least I have organized it in a way which would be less of a print burden than if I didn't set that print area. Okay, so now I do the same thing on this page, set the print area. And this is definitely important to do for every page you're handing me. So, and like I said, you don't want to accidentally not set the print ranges and have a crazy amount of pages come out of the printer, like 8,000 pages, because you didn't set up a print range and modify it to print in a smart way. Okay. Now, also when you're checking, I did the formatting as I went along to make sure that dollars are expressed as dollars, units are not dollars, so they don't have a dollar sign, and so all the formatting percents are in a percentage. So the formattings have been set. So that's why the print ranges, the titles and charts, subtotals and subtotals, totals and subtotals are efficiently done. So I feel that I have for this page at least everything has been organized and cleaned up nicely as far as the formats, the print ranges, and the titles. And now when I'm ready to submit, I would save the file. And when you save the file, you might want to save as. And then if you save as, you could you could write over it, or at the end here put your initials maybe, or put your name, so that way you have a copy of it that is saved, and you know that you're not uploading the blank file that you originally downloaded. That's why it's important to change the name. And you should also save as you're going through each step that you're doing as you work every 10 or 20 minutes. Get in the habit of constantly saving your file so that way you don't lose any data if something happens to your spreadsheet. Okay, now you could click on Browse My Computer, attach the file, and submit, and you're done with week 1 Excel project. Okay, so thank you for taking the time to listen to this video. I hope this helped you to understand how to submit these projects. And I've created a video for each week on each Excel project that we're working on. You can find on the playlist for this class that you can easily see step-by-step instructions on how to complete each case to help you along with your Excel skills and your financial analysis skills. Thank you and take care.